thousands of convicted pedophiles in California who are being released from prison in less than a year for horrific acts, including rape, sodomy, and sexual abuse of children under 14, according to a new investigation. All that and more today, coming up on Candace Owens. All right, you guys, so first and foremost, I want to say that it makes me so happy to see that there are still issues that can unite people on the left and the right, that there is not a gray area when it comes to pedophilia and when it comes to grooming children. And that is the reason that hashtag Balenciaga Groomers has been trending for over a week now. People are upset. People are going after the Kardashians. And it feels like finally we are agreeing on a moral issue. I love that. Except there is one group of people that are noticeably silent. People in Hollywood. They seem like they just want this to go away. They have no interest in leaning in. And this is bizarre because they love leaning in on political issues. They love cancel culture, right? Hollywood loves perpetuating cancel culture. Let you be found in a MAGA hat and they want you canceled. Let George Floyd be killed. They want black squares. They want something to scream about and something to say, I am a virtuous person. So it's bizarre that they're being super silent. And of course, this is leading to conspiracy theories. Conspiracy theories, one that keeps popping up, which is that there is an elite pedophile ring operating within Hollywood. That seems crazy, right? I was thinking about this and thinking about the Epstein case. Jeffrey Epstein, of course, we all know that case. We have been following it in the news. People believe that he was murdered in prison. Other people believe that he legitimately hung himself. Doesn't matter. I'm not interested in going down that path. What I'm interested in covering today, though, is something that I never spoke about before, which is that when this case was going on, a lot of people were sending me information claiming, get this, and I'm going to be clear, this sounded to me like a conspiracy theory, that Jeffrey Epstein was a part of our intelligence agencies, right? That he was actually operating a blackmail ring. And this is the reason why nobody would prosecute him, because he was a protected CIA asset, right? So the idea is that Jeffrey Epstein would get very powerful people to attend his parties, who would bring them out on the Lolita Express. He would bring him to his island in the Caribbean. Remember, he somehow had enough money to purchase an entire island, Little St. James, and he would get them to sleep with women, maybe unbeknownst to them that these women were very young, and then he'd have blackmail. He would record the acts, and then suddenly he had control over people all around the world. Because, hey, if you don't do what we say, we're going to show this video of you sleeping with a 14-year-old. That sounds crazy, right? I thought it sounded crazy, and so I never reported on it. I just sort of stayed out of it and just reported on the strangeness. It was absolutely, of course, it was bizarre that this man seemed to keep falling through the cracks of our legal system, despite all of the evidence that he was involved in sex crimes. And by the way, this conspiracy theory of him operating a blackmail ring didn't come from nowhere. Actually, it came from somewhere. It came from Alexander Acosta, being just one individual that leaned into this conspiracy theory. He was the former U.S. attorney. If you don't remember Alexander Acosta, he was a former U.S. attorney who was also selected by President Trump to be the Labor Secretary of the United States. And throughout his confirmation hearings, a lot of people in the press were saying this guy allowed Jeffrey Epstein to get off scot-free. And so throughout his interviews with the Trump administration, he was asked about that. And he asked the question, is the Epstein case going to cause a problem pertaining to his confirmation hearings? He explained breezily, apparently, that back in the day, he had just one meeting on the Epstein case. He'd cut the non-prosecution deal with one of Epstein's attorneys because he, Alexander Acosta, had been told to back off, that Epstein was above his pay grade. He said, quote, I was told Epstein belonged to intelligence and to leave it alone, he told interviewers in the Trump transition. So that obviously makes people believe that it's true, that Alexander Acosta was simply told, hey, you got to let this guy go. He's an asset. And that would sort of make sense as to why he kept slipping through the cracks of the legal system. But there's more. There's more stuff that is the reason that people believe that this is all true. In case you missed this in the news, Jeffrey Epstein, and by the way, you can find these articles in NBC News, The Washington Post. This is not stuff that I'm finding on some conspiracy website. This is known in the mainstream media that all of this is true. So Jeffrey Epstein used a foreign passport with a fake name to enter several countries in the 1980s, including the United Kingdom, Spain, and Saudi Arabia. That is weird. The passport contained a photo of Epstein with a different name and listed his place of residence as Saudi Arabia. That's according to federal prosecutors. Now, how bizarre is that? They open a safe and they find a passport, a working passport, which allows him to get into all of these countries. And it's a fake name, which lists his residence in Saudi Arabia. Who would have the power to issue a fake passport to Jeffrey Epstein? It is a fact that he had a fake passport. It is a fact that he used that fake passport to enter different countries. It is a fact that nobody can explain how he was wealthy enough to purchase an island. It is a fact that he kept slipping through the legal system. It is a fact that Alexander Acosta said that he was told to let him go. Who would have that much power? I'm just going to ask you the questions. I don't even need to spin a conspiracy theory. I just need to actually present the facts to you. Then, of course, was the strange case of Ghislaine Maxwell and her father. Her father died under mysterious circumstances. This is from a Washington Post article in 1991. Her father's name was Robert Maxwell. The article says, Maxwell, whose body was recovered from the Atlantic Ocean off the Canary Islands last Tuesday after he disappeared from his yacht, was buried late this afternoon in Judaism's most prestigious spot, the cemetery of Jerusalem's Mount of Olives, facing the Western Wall. His funeral service in Jerusalem's Hall of the People was attended by a host of Israeli politicians, led by Prime Minister Shamir and President Herzog, who eulogized the self-made tycoon as a man cast in a heroic mold. Okay, so the conspiracy theories online was that Jeffrey Epstein was linked to the Mossad and the CIA and that he was an asset. And what added to that theory, I should say, because I cannot confirm this, I don't want you to walk away and say, Candace, confirm this is true, was that Ghislaine Maxwell's father had a lot of power in Israel. I mean, how powerful a person you have to be to get both the president and the prime minister to attend your funeral. And he also died in mysterious circumstances, right? Just kind of drowned in a yacht. Now, why am I bringing this up today? Obviously, because as I said, I was happy to see that people have been so vocal and so consistent in their response against Balenciaga's campaign and realizing that something weird is happening in Hollywood. And it seems to me that I would never suggest that all of these celebrities that are staying quiet are all pedophiles. That would seem too ridiculous to me. But I do think they're fearful of something. And maybe it's something vain, like Kim Kardashian just not wanting to not get those free clothes from Balenciaga. Or maybe they're scared. Maybe they understand that there is something that is more powerful than them, and they have seen people that have tried to speak against powerful systems, right? And they've had their entire lives ruined.